Good morning. Welcome back to Bob's journey through the Lords of Middle-earth Tournament 2023. So in the semifinals against Ari here, ran into him in the tournament last year. He's a pretty strong opponent, so should be a good semifinals match. For game one here, I picked Shadow because, I don't know, I was feeling evil. And he's free people, so he's doing the pretty typical Gandalf, Narya, and Gimli out start. Yeah, just very good defensive value for the do line. Some interesting cards. Durin's Bane and Deadly Strife. Some very strong let's go blow Lorien up right now kind of cards. And we proved the Swifter is a fantastic crowning Aragorn kind of card. So I got the tools for a good game here anyway. Okay, so I put in one eye, roll one more, and 0 muster, so that's a bit of a bummer. And he rolls only 1 movement. I wonder, could he crown Aragorn anyway? No, not quite. Wow, that's really close to being able to crown Aragorn, but not quite. I suppose he could pick up a couple cards and see if he gets one. But even then, how much do you want to spend, how many resources do you want to spend crowning Aragorn just against 2 eyes? It's debatable anyway. Especially because giving me a ring would allow me to get, Saruman or the Balrog or something. So that doesn't help either. So he moves the Fellowship right away, which is pretty reasonable. And they get hit, and it's Smeagol. So that's a weird start. Like, on one hand, you're relieved you didn't get revealed, so the Shadow player can't get the Chief. But on the other hand, now you've got Smeagol in the way, so you can't kill Gandalf as easily, and you don't get the Narya die next turn. So that's probably... I'm not sure if that's worse than getting revealed or not. Like out of all the tiles, you could argue that that's the worst. I think I'd still rather hit Smeagol than get revealed, though. Anyway, okay. So I'm using a Palantir, drawing a strategy card... Yeah, might as well. Hoping to get Corsairs. Many Kings is pretty good too, though. So he uses Gimli's ability, gets the Dwarves to war. I play Many Kings. I think I'm planning on not going after the Dwarves just because this is such a great start for the Dwarves. Like, those are such useless dice, you might as well rocket the Dwarves to war. So I think I'm not actually planning on going after the Dew line, but having those troops on the board still threatens that anyway, so it kind of encourages him to spend resources on that. And I could always still, waltz in there and get Dale if I needed to. Or who knows, maybe on a good turn I can sprint over there and get Wildenrond with that army. Okay, he continues getting the Dwarves to war. I move towards Lorien and, the Barad-dûr army down. He moves troops in their normal places. I move troops along. He gets the Dwarves all the way to war. How often do you see that? It's turn 1. No one else is at war, just the Dwarves. Not Saruman, not Sauron, just the Dwarves. I continue getting armies together, and that's the end of that turn. So despite having a token, because I, had no ring and no musters, there's, no extra minions I could bring into play, which is a bummer. Okay, so Fellowship good. I have to put in one more eye, and he rolls a couple more movement this time. So, I get musters this time, so that's nice. I could get Saruman and the Witch King here, because I have the token and 3 dice that I can use as musters. I can get both of them to war, and because the Dwarves are at war, I could get the Black Captain, but it's still kind of nice to get the Chief earlier. Like, the Fellowship's only taken 1 step, and I really like having the Chief and Gothmog. I think the Gothmog's die is pretty strong, so... okay, Fellowship moves. They're safe this time. I bring Isengard to war. He passes. I think that's correct. I bring Sauron to war. Fellowship moves again, and they're hit, and it's a reveal this time for a 1R. So, yeah, tough choices here. He takes 1 corruption and reveals in Moria, which is a pretty reasonable shot. I think either that or killing Smeagol for the 1R and going to Goblin's Gate would both be reasonable choices. This way you're kind of inviting the Balrog to show up, but you're hoping the Balrog will help you get rid of Smeagol and Gandalf, So there's an eye, and then there's a 2, which is a perfectly reasonable card to kill Smeagol to. Yes, and he realizes that he can put Strider as the guide here instead, so that he can use Strider's ability to hide, and then at the start of next turn, then he can switch to Gandalf and try to kill Gandalf instead of Strider on the way out of Moria, which is definitely the correct choice. Okay, in comes Galadriel, that makes sense. So you have a keeper die for next turn, and you can use her ability to help protect Strider. I decided to bring out Saruman and the Chief. I'm a little surprised that I didn't bring in the Balrog instead. I think, right, what I was thinking here is I didn't want to bring the Balrog in because I didn't want to make it easier for the elves to get to war. I wanted to roll over Lorien pretty easily here. So I guess that's what I was thinking. Right, I also didn't want to get the Balrog because I didn't want to help him kill Gandalf easily. Yeah, that's my thinking here. Also, since I have the Chief, I'd rather have Gothmog than the Balrog, but depending on how things go next turn, I might still get the Balrog anyway. Okay, I moved that army towards Gondor, so yeah, I think given the dwarves early to war and my good Lorien killing cards, I think the plan at this point is to go for Lorien in the South 8. Like, this army plus a bit of help from Moria and Dunland hopefully gets Lorien, and then head south to help against Rohan, and yeah, there's my 10 points. That's the plan right now. Okay, so let me go to next turn. I'm feeling good about 9 dice. 4 plus Galadriel isn't terrible either. So because that's an important step order, dice allocation happens first, and Strider was still the guide for dice allocation, and then the Fellowship phase. So he could switch Gandalf to the guide, and he doesn't get Gandalf's die. If Gandalf was the guide at the end of the turn, then you get Gandalf's die, and you could switch away to Strider then, which sometimes you do if you're revealed. Okay, so I put 1 eye in because, yeah, my plan is still full steam ahead militarily, and I might roll more eyes. And what do you know? I do roll 2 more eyes, so I get all 3 rerolls there. He gets a reasonable roll of, well, I guess that's a little bit bad, like only 1 movement, but a Will of the West, though, so if you move first, you could still kill with a ring first, sorry, then you could still kill Gandalf and get Gandalf the White here, which he does. He uses a ring, and he moves once, and he's hit, and it's a 3, so that is perfect Gandalf killing stuff. The downside is that he did not get revealed out of Moria, though, and now Strider's the guide. So now I use a ring as a muster to bring in the Balrog now. Now, because since I'm not helping him kill Gandalf anymore, and I want to kill Strider, now the Balrog is out. That's my line of the priority I like to put there anyway. So I'm really hoping here anyway to kill Galadriel. Like, since I have such great cards for it, too. Like, and I've got Ring Wraiths are abroad here, too. So that means one of these Palantirs is also an attack. That hopefully I can use these to destroy Lorien so that when he moves / declares out of Moria, then the Balrog gets a chance to kill Strider, and Galadriel can't stop that. Because Galadriel's ability to block an eye can be used to save Strider from the Balrog. Okay, so Ring Wraiths are abroad. I get to draw a card there with the Chief. So I send 1 Nazgul down there just to make full advantage of my moving 2 minions. I decide to leave the Witch King behind. I don't know, like it feels good to keep him on harassing the Fellowship, but I think I actually regretted it partway through the turn because I have Fear of Their Masters in hand, and you need to have a Shadow Minion in the battle to play this card. So I kind of wish I'd brought the Chief just to make it more sure that I'd destroy Lorien. He musters the elves towards war. I besiege Lorien. And now he tries to use a ring to muster in Lorien, but then realizes that he can't because he already used a ring to move once. Yeah, I was surprised when he mustered the elves down there. Yeah, it happens. It's easy to forget. Like, these turns are chaotic. Okay, so then he, tries to play Eagles Are Coming, but it's a dumb rule. Galadriel and Elrond don't count as companions for the top half of cards. They only count as companions for the bottom half of cards. So for combat, like, you could play Heroic Death or Brave Stand, and they count as companions, but for the Eagles Are Coming, they don't count as a companion. It's pretty dumb, because it's, like, the only card where that's relevant. And also, that card almost never gets played anyway, so it would be cooler if it was allowed. But it's good for me in this moment anyway that it's not allowed, though. So instead, he brings in Gandalf the White, and I attack Lorien. Opening with Durin's Bane because, obviously this is the only spot that it works. I'd really like to use it here. So I jump right into rolling, which is wrong. I'm supposed to do my pre-attack first, so I get 2 hits, which is, the better side of the 50-50 anyway. And then I roll 3 sixes. Whatever. You know those games where the Lorien Siege drags on for half the game and it's just a really epic battle with lots of back and forth? Nope, not today. Today Galadriel decided to just head right back to Valinor without a fight. She just booked an express flight right over the Misty Mountains and off into the Great Blue yonder. Okay, so he draws a card, 3 rings, always a good card. I play Wormtongue here, I guess just for cycling. Because I have the Chief there, and when you play a character card and the Chief is sitting on the Fellowship, you get to redraw another card. But also, it's a win from the West blocker, because We Shall Get It can also be removed by Safe Paths in the Dark. So with this in play, it makes me a bit safer from that, and if I go do swoop down on Rohan, it might be useful. Yeah, actually, I guess especially seeing how well this army survived, like it's still a reasonably strong army, that makes having it ready to go attack Rohan makes Wormtongue a lot more useful. He plays Dane. I'm even more intimidated of the dwarves than I was before. Okay, I shuffle armies along, and we're off to next turn. Okay, I wonder what I chuck here. Shoot, those are all good cards. I guess I'm chucking Phlox. Oh, that feels bad though. Or maybe I think I chucked Lore because Lore is even harder to use as a combat card, and it's pretty risky. Yeah, I chucked Lore. Yeah, and he kills Swords and Eriador. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to chuck. That's a pretty cool hand. Dead Man, 3 rings, 3-hand wheel. Rangers of the North. Wow, I'm glad I chose not to go after the dew line. The cards were ready for me if I was coming that way. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, so Fellowship declares forward, and we draw a tile for the Balrog, and it is, in fact, an eye. So that is pretty darn lucky. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's very lucky. Because there were only 3 eyes in there. We already drew one, so that was 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. So 3 out of 13. So that's, I guess, slightly less than 25% odds. So I guess that's not, like, crazy lucky. It's still very lucky, though. Like, if the Balrog manages to assassinate Strider, that is, like, A+, job well done, buddy. Retire in peace. Like, okay, so he puts Boromir as the guide. Yeah, 1 eye in, 4 more rolled, and a useless Balrog result. So that is not exactly the most helpful roll I've ever had. Given my luck so far, I'm not going to complain, but... yeah, that's a pretty useless turn for me. Okay, he's nice enough to let the chief follow. Yeah, because I forgot. Technically, he could have said no, but I like to play by nice guy rules. Like if it's something you clearly meant to do, and the game hasn't happened yet, then that's fine. You can change your mind. Like if he'd mustered the elves down last turn and quick said, actually, can I change that? Then I would have said fine. But we were already like 2 turns later when he realized that, right? So that's why that's different to me anyway. Okay, so he moves, and he doesn't get hit on 6 dice. So that feels just awful as Shadow when you get, like, literally over half your resources this turn went into the hunt box, and they accomplished nothing. It's just, yeah, feels bad. So I play Warden of Sorrow and Toil, because might as well. Hopefully get some juicy cards out of his hand. He musters Gondor closer to war. I kill the Balrog die. Like, in theory, I could still use it to discard Power Too Great or Tom Bombadil, but it's very unlikely he'd play it this turn, and I mainly just wanted to see what he would do first, so as to influence my choices. Okay, he musters more in Erebor. I muster the Southrons down. He brings in Elrond. I bring in Gothmog. He plays Thranduil. Now Celeborn and Galadrim show up. Classic timing. And I move armies along. Okay, on to next turn. Pick up Cruel Weather. Oh, nice. Always good to see Cruel Weather. He chucks Dead Men. That makes sense. Yep. Since Strider's out, all that is a sudden strike now. I guess I'd probably chuck Rangers of the North, too. Just because, like, the Dew line is already so well defended, and I'm probably not really coming that way. Like, I am a little bit, because that army's there. But, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember this was such a tough choice, too. Jeez, man. So many good cards here. It's Cruel Weather and 7 great combat cards. Jeez, man. I think I end up chucking both Lure of the Ring and Phlox of Cribine here. Which, like, I love they are terrible because, like, it can't get blocked by advantageous position, right? So it's like... And it works with Nazgul, so it's so flexible. It's just fantastic. Okay, and he chucks Eagles Are Coming / Heroic Death. Yep, that's all right, too. Okay, Fellowship declares forward. Chief follows him. Right, there's Elrond's die. 1 eye in, 1 more rolled. And, yeah, pretty reasonable rolls for both of us. It's a pretty good attacking roll for me. Anyway, so he moves right away. That makes sense. The Day Without Dawn is out there, and it is scary. Fellowship is safe. I bring armies onto them for the reroll because they want to head towards Rohan anyway, so I might as well harass the Fellowship while I'm working on it. Right, I specifically leave this orc here because I have this army here, And as we said, I'm not really excited about the do line. So if I happen to pick up Shadow's Gather, like the one that moves on Army 3 spaces, then they could go 1, 2, 3. And then they're a lot closer to help with Gondor for, you know, if the war goes badly down here. And if not, then, oh well, it's one orc I've left behind. So now I bring the Southrons and Easterlings to war. I muster up in Orthanc. He gets dudes together in Helm's Deep. I play Crowweather now, I guess just for cycling. Yeah, and you know how sometimes, like he moves 2 more times this turn, and he gets revealed to, like, Eastern Emyn Will, and the next turn, he manages to, like, move and it gets revealed twice in a row. Or, like, Elrond stops me from being able to use it. Sometimes you just don't get to use it, and it just clogs up your hand, and then you use it as Cruel as Death, like, 5 turns later. So anyway, like, it's at least I, you know, delay a whole movement of the Fellowship. And I still have 2 rerolls on him, because he's in a Shadow Control Stronghold here. So Fellowship moves, and that second reroll... Shadow Controlled Stronghold. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. And that's the hit that gets him. Anyway. So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, though. If the Fellowship is in a Free People Stronghold, but it's been conquered, the Shadow Controlled Stronghold here gives a reroll, but it doesn't give the extra tile drop the way, like, a true Shadow Stronghold does. Anyway. So, yeah. Okay, so armies move towards Rohan. He uses Galadriel's Ring to move Gandalf. That's right. This is cool. Okay, so army gets together in West Emnet, but it doesn't activate Rohan. Thanks, Wormtongue. And then he plays Fearfire Foes, so Gandalf gets to Bree, which is pretty cool. So now the North is at war. Like again, I'm not really going after the do line, but it does kind of look like that, right? Because this army is scary. And this way he gets to muster up in Dale and thereby protect Woodland Realm even more. So, okay, so then I take Edoras and Fold, and again, Rohan is not at war because it needs to be an actual attack in Edoras or Helm's Deep. Just conquering an empty settlement doesn't count as an attack. So Rohan is still not active and not at war here. So he musters up in Dale, and now I attack Helm's Deep, you know, just in case he picks up Aemir and plays it at the start of next turn. So now Wormtongue is gone. Good job, Wormtongue. You definitely helped. Yeah, I almost never have a useful Wormtongue. That was such a weird experience for me. Okay, so Elrond's die is gone. And now I gotta pick 2 cards to chuck here. Geez, another turn of having to chuck really good cards. I guess I'm chucking Shadows on the Misty Mountains and Palantir, just because everything else is so good. I don't know, man. No, I chucked Stormcrow and Palantir. Interesting. Why am I keeping Shadows on the Misty Mountains? I think it's just because I was a little bit worried about a Free People's Military something. Like, especially with the North being at war. So, like, they're closer to Dol Guldur, and there's through a day and a night things. And obviously, Elrond's die is available. So, yeah, I guess I was worried about that. Okay. So, one eye in, no more rolled, lots of attacks, and he rolls. Yeah, not a great roll. 1 movement and a few musters. So against one eye, that doesn't feel good for sure. So I open up with Grond against Helm's Deep, because why not? Let's go get him. I could have switched to the Black Captain first here, but I think Gothmog's die has been good for me. Like, I've gotten a few attacks out of him, so like I'd rather keep it. And also that would activate Gondor and allow him to use all these musters very productively to defend. So I'd rather not activate Gondor right now. Okay, so on Helm's Deep, and just... Oh, I love playing Deadly Strife with the first round of Grond when you know there's no daylight or advantageous position or shield wall or confusion. Like none of those annoying things can affect it. Just a pure, beautiful Deadly Strife. And I get 4 hits, which is lovely. And he gets 4 hits back, so that's fair. On to round 2. No card, no card. 1-6. 0 hits back. Round 3. No card, no card. I get my 6. He gets a hit back. And yep, such is the end of Rohan. Okay, so then I move leadership around. Might as well get the chief back on the Fellowship and get my army together for the Southrons. Yeah, and then he plays 3 rings for the Elven Kings here and gets a whiff. So, poor guy. Jeez, man. Just can't catch a break. Yeah, I remember. I've just been thinking, like, I really got to use Galadriel's Ring because I don't want him to be able to play 3 rings for the Elven Kings and take away both of them. Just in case he gets 2 hits, then I lose my ability to play a ring. But, like, all my dice were pretty good this turn, so I didn't really want to spend it anyway. So. Okay, so off we go. So now I'm attacking Pelargir. I wonder if it might have actually been better to keep the Witch King with my armies here, because now all nations... Oh yeah, that was my other point here, is I could get the mouth now too. Since Fearfire Foes happened, and the dwarves muster themselves and have attacked everyone else to war. Yeah, I could get the mouth this turn. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I get my hit. He doesn't get a hit back. That's very pleasant for me. He musters in Minas Tirith. I move towards Dol Amroth. He musters in Minas Tirith again. And a regular in Dol Amroth. Yeah, I was really expecting Círdan or Imrahil here. But I think the plan here is... I guess he's just hoping for some Free People's military shenanigans, because the Fellowship is so hopelessly far behind at this point. Yeah, I think that's got to be what he's hoping for here. Like, the kind of turn where I roll almost all eyes, and he rolls, like, 5 H's, and, like, this army, you know, runs past into Mordor, and Elrond runs into Moria, something like that. Anyway. Okay, so I besiege Dol Amroth. He musters more in Minas Tirith. I attack Osgiliath from South Ithilien. He scouts his way to Minas Tirith, and he musters more in Minas Tirith. And here, I wonder if you can see it. There's something very cheeky that the Shadow player could do here, which you don't get very often. I've only ever gotten to try it once before, and it didn't work for me just because the dice didn't land. So what I do here is I muster a warg in North Dunland, and then I run to South Downs, and I use a ring on the Palantir to attack Bree. Because if I destroy that army, then Gandalf is dead. And he's back down to 4 dice, which, you know, feels amazing, obviously. So, like, yeah, it's one of those things. It's a little bit safer if you play Fearfire Foes to put Gandalf in the Shire instead of Bree, just because Bree is one region closer to North Dunland, so it's a little more likely to get sneak attacked like this, but this almost never happens. It was really unlucky for him that I had the resources to be able to pull this off. Okay, and I also happen to have Swarm of Bats, so if he had a Scouts, that wouldn't have saved him here either. He plays... Yep, Daring Defiance, that makes sense. Yeah, like, might as well, right? But I get my 1 hit, and he gets not a hit back. Although, actually, he shouldn't have rolled a reroll there. Here, yeah, his card triggered first, so... Anyway, doesn't really matter, but anyway. So yeah, on we go to next turn, looking very grim. Right, I did also have to skip getting the mouth, which was a bummer. So I say 0 eyes because, like, might as well just run this military win in. I roll 2 more anyway. He rolls that. Jeez. What are you supposed to do, man? It's 10 dice to 4, counting Gothmog, and I'm going to get the mouth this turn, too, and you just can't roll any movement. Like, what are you supposed to do, man? And Strider's dead, too, so you know you're never getting back to above 4 dice. Right, on the Southrons and Easterling guys, so there's some guys at Dale. I guess that makes sense, like, again, hoping for some Free People's military things. Attacking Dol Amroth. I'm a little surprised he didn't play Círdan's ships here to help stall out. I guess, again, he's just, you know, hoping for Free People's military things, so maybe he wants the charge, or maybe he wants more elves to bolster up Rivendell or Woodland Realm. So yeah, there's another Deadly Strife. I get 3 hits, which is a little below average, but only 1 hit from him is way more below average, so I press... no card, no card. I get my 1 hit. He gets 1 hit back. So I could go after Minas Tirith here because I do have a lot of dudes there, but he also has a lot of dudes there, and I kind of just want to leave well enough alone, you know? What's the plan here, Bob? Oh, right. Okay, so I attack Dale here because I'm, you know, threatening to get the Shire, and Dale is my last 2 points. He plays... Win from the west. I get 2 hits. He gets 3, so that's pretty good. I press. He retreats to Erebor. Oof, squizzy. He comes back out to attack Dale. There's Círdan's ships, which misses 2 hits. I get 1 hit back. So I retreat to Withered Heath, because that's a very annoying spot for a Shadow Army, because it threatens all 3 of these anyway. Like, if he'd left Erebor too weak, maybe I could have taken Erebor. But he has, like, so many guys that I'm really just there to be annoying, you know? I don't really have much of a chance of conquering anything here. So I play Orcs Multiplying again here. I bring in the Mouth, and I play Shadows on the Misty Mountains. Yeah, so just, just add water. You've got an army in Mount Gundabad. Feels nice, yeah. So I decide to bring my guys together here against Rivendell. He uses another ring to muster again in Rivendell. I keep coming at him. I figured at this point I've got so much time that he can muster up Rivendell. That's fine. But now he's out of rings and he's out of elves. So next turn I'm probably just going to double back and go get the Grey Havens. Because I just have an insane amount of dice and he doesn't, and there's just no pressure. It's just a really lucky game. So I say 0 eyes again, roll 2, and literally all attacks. Like, what disgusting kind of luck is this? So he musters in Rivendell, and yeah, I start heading back towards Grey Havens. So interestingly, I could have done Shadow's Lengthen there to move straight to Bree, but that's actually just as close as walking there. So I figured I might as well keep the card. I don't really need that Shadow Lengthens for anything else. Okay, that was just me putting settlements on there. So I walk towards Grey Havens. He musters, like, there's just really nothing to do here, man. So he musters in Ered Luin in the Shire. I walk towards Grey Havens, and in theory he could... Oh no, he doesn't have a ring, so he can't do that anyway. I'm just throwing all my dudes in the way in case he can somehow come out against Pelargir, because there's nothing else to do with all these dice anyway. Yeah, so he moves in to protect the Grey Havens. I attack the Grey Havens. He draws a strategy card, and I've got 4 attacks here to spend against. But I decided to move more leadership and bring in the Witch King there for card cycling first, because, yeah, might as well. Again, I've got all the time in the world. Grey Havens, strategy card, Desperate Battle against Daylight. Daylight feels good there. I get 2 hits anyway, and he gets 2 hits back. So I don't press for the redraw's sake. Now I attack again. Swarm of Batsing out the Daylight this time. A 1 hit. No hits back. Oh no, yeah, he does have 1 hit back because he got that Dwarf Leadership in there. So then I press. And I've got Great Host to finish him off. So... that's the end of that game. So that was a pretty one-sided, pretty brutal game. Yeah. There's just when the dice suck and Strider gets picked off by the Balrog like that, it's just, what do you do, man? There's nothing to do. I think hoping for some free people military shenanigans was probably the best thing you could do. Yeah, I guess let's take a look at the statistics. Pretty average. So like -0 on 6s. Oh yeah, -8 on movement for him. That -6 overall. So that sucks for sure. +4 on eyes for me, so I guess that's a little bit not great. -4 on musters. Overall +2 on attacks though, so that's aight. Yep, not much else to say about that one. I solemnly promise, content creators honor, Game 2 is a banger. Game 2 is a fantastic game. Please tune in for that one. That's way better than this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.